When you think of overhauling your car, the immediate things that may come to mind are wheels and tires, suspension, crazy aero, maybe even a turbo. But those things are hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. What if the best way to overhaul your car is changing how you interact with your car? Hello, welcome back to Flywheel Films. My name is Austin, and I'm a firm believer that you can totally change your driving experience by simply updating the things that you interact with every single time you drive your car. In today's video, we are going to be updating some of the touch points on the interior of my NC Miata. The thought is, if you update these things that you interact with every time you drive your car, it can provide a totally different driving experience. These are very simple and easy to do mods, and they will definitely change how the car feels, how the car looks, and you'll be personalizing it as you go. So let's start with the shift knob. This is probably the most commonly updated item in a manual transmission vehicle. I think in part because it just screws off and on, just like this. You may notice this is not a factory shift knob. So the previous owner had put this on there. I'm pretty sure this is a Team Voodoo shift knob. And shift knobs can take tons of different shapes, sizes, colors, weights, and there's a lot to choose from. Kind of a nauseating amount of options, sometimes a concerning amount of options to choose from. So I'm gonna give you my 2 cents, and then I'm gonna show you what I picked up. So to start, material. Shift knobs come in a wide variety of material. Typically, you're going to see a metal shift knob like this one. You'll have Delrin or like a hard plastic, which is a really popular option for good reason, and wood. I love a good wood shift knob, but this is not the type of car I think that fits well in. My NA Miata had a wood shift knob, and that worked beautifully. But this is a little bit newer, more modern, and I'm not going to have any other wood accents going on. But I think the important thing to think about with material is how it reflects temperature. So if you have a metal shift knob, if you're driving your Miata in the summer and you park it outside to go shopping or grab a bite to eat, you come back out, it can burn your hand. So metal can be tricky. It does feel really good in hand, but it can also be really, really cold in the winter. So it is a conductor of heat, which, I don't know, not my favorite thing, and part of the reason why I want to get rid of this one. But this one does have some nice weight to it. That's another thing I'd highly recommend, is getting a shift knob that has a little bit more weight than the factory knob. It can make your throws feel a little bit more deliberate, and it's just more satisfying overall. So weight is a big thing to consider, so make sure you are keeping that in mind when you're checking out the millions of options out there. Shape is definitely another consideration. There are tons of different shapes of shift knobs out there, but my personal preference is something that is round, or at least semi-round on top. I think that makes the most comfortable shifting experience, but that is entirely personal preference. And then lastly, color. Part of the reason why I wanted to swap this one out is it is a slightly different silver than the other accents on the interior, and my take with shift knobs is I think they should be just that, an accent, not necessarily a focal point. It is a way you can add a splash of color, but my personal preference is staying with something that is a little bit more, I don't know, subtle, that kind of blends into the rest of the interior of the car. So enough about my preference in shift knob. Let's show you the new one. So this is the CravenSpeed NC Miata shift knob, and this is one of a couple CravenSpeed products you'll see in this video. I love this shift knob. Jordan has had it on his NC for a while, and of all of these shift knobs that I've interacted with on my 4 manual cars and the shift knobs Jordan's had on his car, this is my favorite. This is a solid aluminum core. I love that because it has some really nice weight to it. And that's one thing, like I said, that I really enjoy in a shift knob, is something that's a little bit heavier than what comes factory. But what's really cool about this is it has a hard plastic exterior, so it doesn't conduct the heat like metal does. So you get kind of the benefits with the weight of metal, but then what you actually interact with isn't going to scald or freeze your hand. And then it's all tied together with a shift knob cap. And this cap is really, really cool. You can get a handful of different colors, and then you can actually work with CravenSpeed to have some custom engraving done on here. So I will put some close-up shots of the caps that CravenSpeed sent over, and I'm a huge fan of this. We obviously have our Flywheel Films logo here with the shift pattern. It's a very, very cool way to refresh your car, and this is a pricey shift knob. I will admit that you can get much, much cheaper shift knobs, but the quality of this is fantastic, and I love that once you get the shift knob, you can spend $15 to totally update it with a brand new shift knob cap. So let's install this. It's really straightforward. You just put the little metal core on. I'm just putting it over my existing shift boot. And then once I got it pretty much lined up, I have the holes lined up. They give you these little screws here. There's some assembly required. So yeah, definitely not the fastest install ever for shift knob, because you do have to put these little 6 Allen head screws in. I really love the way this looks. The silver plays off the other silver accents in the car really nicely. Seeing the FF logo on there is so cool. I absolutely love that it's that personalized for me. I'm really excited about this. So this is obviously, like I said, a touch point that you interact with all the time while you're driving, but another touch point that you interact with every time you drive your car is your e-brake handle. So in order to uninstall your e-brake handle, you actually have to remove the center console, which the first step in doing that is removing the shift knob I just put there. So we'll do that, and then we will show you how to disassemble the center console. It is super easy. All right, so the first step in removing your center console, like I said, is taking the shift knob off. And then after that, there's only a couple little panels you have to remove to access some screws to then take this thing off. So you just need flathead screwdriver, plastic trim removal tool. There's really a couple options here. I actually have had the best luck with a really tiny flathead screwdriver. So the first thing you want to pop off is your little tray up here. And then that reveals 2 Phillips head screws there. And then in your cup holder, there is a front little, I don't know, the bottom piece on the front cup holder comes off to reveal a screw under there. And then last but not least, you have this back piece here. It's super easy. Just pops off like so. And that is all of these screws that you need to remove to take this thing off. These are all Phillips head screws, by the way. There are some slight variations in this process, I believe, between the different center consoles. So this is obviously for an NC1. Also, do you think I should get an NC2 center console? I've seen a lot of folks do that swap, and I'm curious if it's worth doing. Also, you want to make sure you slide this guy forward, because it will reveal the last screw. So 5 screws in total. Attach this thing, and then it just lifts off. You just gotta pop these 2 out here, and then there is a connector on the bottom side of this for your window switches. Okay, that fought me way more than I thought it would. There's just a little clip on the back side of this that I don't think was pressing hard enough, or it was maybe stuck. That just comes off with a little bit of force. It's just kind of jammed on there, and that is it. So this is the whole reason why you have to remove the center console. Is I don't think you can fit that through that little shift boot opening. So the new one from CravenSpeed is remarkably simple. It just slides over and then has some little set screws to lock it in, and then has some hoops that go over top of those set screws. We can then put the center console back in. So just make sure you reconnect your window switch. All right, just like that, we are back in business. We will slide this guy on there. And then I think they recommend just having the set screws on top. And you have a little tiny Allen key to screw those in with. All right, that looks awesome. Now that we have our little set screws in, we'll slide these guys on over. I am so happy with how that looks. So to finish it off, I will reinstall my CravenSpeed shift knob. Oh man, that looks killer. Go ahead and reattach all these screws. They're all the same, by the way. Good rule of thumb for these plastics is if it doesn't fit well, you're probably not putting it in the right way because they all snap back in really nicely. And there you go. CravenSpeed goodies. I've updated 2 major touch points. You're gonna hate that word by the end of this video. We've upgraded 2 major touch points so far, shift knob and your e-brake handle, both things that you interact with absolutely every single time you drive your car. And another thing that you interact with every single time you drive your car is your door handle. Not this one, but this one. You may have seen this coming. We are good friends with Jackson, aka Colored in Light, who is also SuperAutomotiveAccessories now. And Jordan has installed these on his car. They are a interior door pull, and they replace this plastic door handle here. And for one, makes your car feel like a race car, which is never a bad thing. But I think practically, they allow easier access to this cup holder. And if you know much about driving NC Miatas, you do not want to use the cup holders in the center because it makes your shifting feel very awkward. So this is just a great upgrade. It's not very expensive. I will also link these below with probably a discount code. So I'll put it on the screen if there is one, or put it in the description. And Jackson has a bunch of colors available, but he sent me blue because obviously I have a blue car. So in order to install these, you do have to remove the door panels. Trust me, it sounds scary. It's not that difficult of a job. There are some screws that hold in your center console, your door card similar to your center console. There's one right inside the cup holder here. Once again, these are all just Phillips head screws. So the other 2 are hidden. It is actually best to use a very tiny flathead if you have it to remove the top of the handle here, which there's a screw hidden behind here. And behind this little plate here within your door release, there's another screw. That's always scary. This is pretty thin plastic, so be careful. And then this one is also super easy to get off. You just have to know how. Yeah, like I said, I think these tiny little flathead screwdrivers are a little bit better than trim removal pieces in this case because they are a little bit more exact. These lower 2 screws are pretty good size. This one in the top of the door is pretty small, just like the ones in the center console. Then now for the fun part and the not scary part at all, removing the actual door panel. You just work your way around. It's really not all that difficult. You have to disconnect these top 2 from your locking and your door mechanism. They just kind of pop out. And then you have two other clips, one for your speaker here and then your lock button. Both of these are pretty easy to remove. These have been fighting me today for some reason. And then now you have your whole door panel off. On the back of this, there is one more screw that allows you to take your handle completely out. So you may not need to fully remove this thing. You could probably get away with just popping it off and then getting back here with a Phillips head screwdriver. Future Austin here, you can absolutely do this job without fully removing the door panel. You can just disconnect the door handle and the locking mechanism at the top. You don't need to remove the clips. And then here's a quick zoom in on the screw that you do need to remove. There's a better clip in Jordan's install video that I will link above. Now that you have that out, now your handle just gets removed. And there you go, there's your OEM interior door pull. If your door card plays nice, all of these clips will stay put. But if they don't, like mine didn't, they will get stuck in the door itself. So I pried all of them out. If this does happen to you, definitely want a plastic trim removal tool. I used my small screwdriver to get under the base of the clip and then just pried it out, and they popped out pretty easily. I'm just gonna reuse them for now. They're still in good enough shape to reuse. So before you reattach your door card, just make sure that you get these back in where they need to go, and then you reconnect to these two clips. So do that. So you just want to slot it in on top, and then from there push in all around, make sure all of your clips attach, and you're good to go. And then you'll be reattaching some of the hardware. Let's put this guy back in up here, and you'll be reusing the one from down below and the cup holder. And now comes the fun part. Jackson did such a good job with the packaging here. He's got this card with directions on the back as well. There's nothing on the inside. It's a blank inside card. And then he includes these little 3D printed plugs that just pop in there. Very nice. With the SuperAutomotiveAccessories door pulls, he had them packaged for me with the original disc on top, but there is a new piece that he is trying out, and these are labeled D and P for driver and passenger. At least if you're in the US market, it's the left and the right side of the car. And you can choose whether or not you want to run the disc or this newer trim piece. I tried the disc out. I'm going to try this one out now. I think they both look good, but I think this one might look a little bit better. So you just need to pull your spacer off, pull the strap off. With these 3D printed parts, one side is pretty clearly the side to be exposed on the outside. And these are pretty cool here. You can see it kind of perfectly cups around the strap there. So I think it looks a little bit cleaner in my opinion. Just like that. So definitely looks, I think, a little bit more, I don't know, well thought out. And overall, I am so pleased with this. This 3D printed cap he has in here is definitely an improvement from the original grommet that he had. It is super slim with it. I don't even notice it unless if I'm actually looking for it. And the strap is so solid feeling. And I just love that I can actually get to this cup holder now. And my passenger can too. So I'm sure my wife will appreciate that, as we typically have coffee in here. This is definitely not on the interior, but it is adjacent to the interior. It's quite close, as you can tell. And this is a very NC specific, or Miata specific upgrade, I should say. In convertibles, the doors actually play a really big part of the chassis rigidity, and door bushings like these that are very squishy and don't necessarily hold the door as tightly as it could can compromise a little bit of that rigidity. So it also improves the door shut, makes it sound a little bit more, I don't know, firm, fancy. So CravenSpeed has these door bushings, and Jordan's ran these on his car, so I know they work, and I'm gonna throw these on. This is probably the easiest mod you can do outside of a shift knob on your NC. To call in the reinforcements on this one, these are in there pretty good. While I'm in there, you can do what you always should do. Look at that, winning blue paint. And just like that, out with the old, in with the new. One other bonus mod, and something that I want to spend a little bit of time talking about, but not a lot, because as you can tell, this is not an interior touch point. But this is the stubby antenna from CravenSpeed. Given the other products that they supplied for this video, I wanted to shout out this one as well, because it is NC specific, and it's the first thing I think any NC owner should do. It gets rid of the massive antenna that's in here from the factory that makes your car look like an RC car. It is the easiest thing to do, so go pick it up. It's only like 20 bucks. That'll be linked below as well. All right, now pretty much everything that I interact with when I get in my car has been updated. I really love that. This is not a tremendously expensive thing to do, and it will totally change the things you touch and how your car feels because of it. So huge thank you to CravenSpeed. They did supply the handbrake handle, the shift knob with the custom shift cap, and then the door bushings. I do want to make a call out that I actually reached out to them. They did not reach out to me, just asking me to promote their stuff. I asked them if they'd be willing to partner with me for this video, and they agreed. So huge thank you to them. Like I said, all of this stuff will be linked down below. I could not be happier with the finished product in here. I'm so excited. So like I said, shift knob, handbrake handle. Jackson came in clutch with these Super Automotive door pulls. So if you want to go support him, SuperAutomotiveAccessories, I will link that down below. And then of course his channel, Colored in Light. He has the coolest NC probably in the country, maybe on the planet, I don't know. And then of course, like I said, the honorable mention is the stubby antenna. Snag one of those too. If you enjoyed this style video of kind of a mini overhaul, let me know. I'm probably going to do a few more of these, maybe not on the interior, but maybe some little exterior stuff too. So stay tuned. There are lots of videos coming with this car. I have parts sitting in my garage that I have yet to throw on. So definitely subscribe if you haven't. If you want to see more NC content, this is the place to check it out. We'll see you in the next one.